19 May 1981. A legend was born. Georges St-Pierre, often called GSP, came into the world in Saint-Isidore, Quebec, Canada. Who could have guessed that this quiet kid would one day dominate the world of MMA and the Ultimate Fighting Championship? Today, GSP is known as one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport, and even though he's retired, his influence in 2024 is stronger than ever. In this video, we'll go into his early days in the UFC to his record-breaking achievements, his toughest battles, and the legacy he continues to shape today. Stick around because by the end, you'll understand why Georges St-Pierre is a name that still commands respect and admiration around the world. And there might just be a few surprises you didn't expect along the way. Ready? Let's go. Georges St-Pierre's journey in the UFC began in 2006, when he stepped into the octagon as a young, hungry fighter with a lot to prove. Just a year later, in 2007, GSP captured his first UFC welterweight championship. He won his title after defeating Matt Hughes at UFC 79, Nemesis on 29 December 2007. This fight was one for the history books. Hughes had been one of the best fighters at the time, and Georges showed the world that he was ready to take over. Not only did he win, but he finished Hughes in a dominant fashion. But GSP's story wasn't just about winning. What made him stand out from the rest was how smart he fought, in different martial arts, like karate, jiu-jitsu, and wrestling, and combined them to create his unique style. GSP wasn't just about raw power. He used his brain as much as his muscles in the octagon. Even champions face tough times, and Georges was no exception. In 2007, something unexpected happened that would shock the MMA world. At UFC 69, Georges lost to Matt Serra in one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Nobody saw it coming. Georges was supposed to win easily, but that's the thing about MMA. One punch can change everything. Now, most people would cut out after a loss like that, especially when the whole world is watching. But not GSP. Instead of giving up, he used this defeat as motivation to come back stronger. Less than a year later, in April 2008, at UFC 83, GSP fought Matt Serra again in front of a roaring crowd in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This time, he left no doubts. He completely dominated Serra, winning by technical knockout and reclaiming his welterweight title. This moment showed everyone that he was a champion in every sense of the word. He had the heart to bounce back from failure and become even better. How do you handle setbacks in your life? GSP teaches us that the real measure of greatness is how you rise after falling. After reclaiming his title, GSP went on to defend his UFC welterweight championship again and again, proving that he was one of the most dominant fighters of his time. One of his most memorable fights came in August 2008 at UFC 87, Seek and Destroy, when he faced John Fitch. Fitch was a top contender, but GSP made him look like an amateur. For 5 rounds, GSP outclassed Fitch, controlling every aspect of the fight. By the end, everyone knew that Georges St-Pierre was not just another fighter, he was becoming a legend. In January 2009, at UFC 94, GSP faced off against another UFC great BJ Penn in a highly anticipated rematch. Penn was a dangerous fighter, but GSP used his superior conditioning and technique to completely overwhelm him, forcing Penn's corner to stop the fight. Fight after fight, he fought the best of the best and made it look easy. In 2012, at UFC 154, after recovering from a serious knee injury, GSP returned to defend his title against Carlos Condit. In a 5-round war, he showed the world that even after a long layoff, he was still the king of the welterweight division. Imagine coming back after surgery to take on one of the toughest fighters in the world. One of GSP's most controversial moments came in November 2013 when he defended his title against Johnny Hendricks at UFC 167. This fight was intense, and by the end, many people believed Hendricks had done enough to win. But when the judges' scorecards were read, GSP was announced as the winner. The decision sparked debate among fans and experts alike. Was GSP slowing down, or was this just a bad call? But the real shock came after the fight. In his post-fight interview, GSP announced that he was stepping away from the sport at just 32 years old. He was walking away as the reigning champion. It was a decision that stunned the MMA world. It felt like an unfinished chapter. GSP had been at the top for so long, and suddenly he was gone. But as we would soon find out, this wasn't the last we'd see of Georges St-Pierre. Can you imagine walking away from something when you're at the very top? That takes a different kind of courage. Fast forward to 2017. After 4 years away from the sport, Georges St-Pierre made his comeback. And it wasn't just a regular comeback. He returned in a new weight class. Moving up to middleweight, GSP challenged then champion Michael Bisping at UFC 217 on 4 November 2017. Many questioned whether GSP could still perform at the highest level after such a long break. But in true GSP fashion, he silenced the doubters. After a tough fight, GSP submitted Bisping in the 3rd round to become the UFC middleweight champion. With that victory, GSP became only the 4th fighter in UFC history to win titles in 2 different weight classes. How many people can come back after 4 years and win a championship in a whole new division? GSP didn't just return, he conquered. In 2021, Georges St-Pierre was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, proving his legacy as one of the greatest fighters in the sport's history. But even in 2024, GSP's influence goes far beyond the octagon. Today, GSP is more than just a former champion. He's a mentor to younger fighters, sharing his knowledge and helping the next generation of UFC athletes. He's also made appearances in Hollywood, most notably in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, expanding his influence beyond sports and into entertainment. But perhaps GSP's greatest contribution is the mindset he's left behind. His approach to training, mental toughness, and overcoming challenges continues to inspire athletes around the world. And who knows, with rumors always swirling, maybe we haven't seen the last of Georges St-Pierre in the octagon. What do you think? Will GSP ever fight again? Georges St-Pierre isn't just a UFC champion. He's a legend whose impact will be felt for generations to come. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Georges St-Pierre is the greatest UFC fighter of all time? Or is there someone else who could take that title? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of MMA, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.